Good morning and welcome. My name's Lindy Smith and it's an absolutely gorgeous spring morning here in the South Shropshire Hills, so I hope it's just as lovely with you. Today I'm going to be talking about this cake here. It's one that I created on Friday with my student Kate. Now she wanted to learn all about doodling. She wanted to do a little bit about ruffles and how to make some simple wafer paper flowers like this one. So I thought I'd jump on today and give you a few little ideas and tips. I'm going to be talking about the inspiration behind this particular design. I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to use the cutters that I've used to create the shoe and the handbags and the dresses. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of doodling as well. So if you like to say hello, please do. I always love to know that you're watching. So if you'd like to say where in the world you are, that'd be wonderful. We've had our first good morning from Gladys in Ecuador. Good morning to you, Gladys. It's lovely to have you here. And do send me some likes and some thumbs up. It's very encouraging when I'm doing these. It's not as easy as you might think to do these Facebook Lives. It's a lot of preparation involved, so I need to know that it's worthwhile and I do inspire you. Anisha says hi from workshop, sorry. Can't read this morning. Right, so what I'm going to do is talk about the inspiration. As I say, it was my student that started this journey. She wanted to do doodling and I thought, you know, I've done doodling all sorts of different ways. So what I thought was I want to do something different. Now, last weekend I was just flipping through the Sunday supplement and it was actually a fashion one, all about style. Oh, lots of hellos and hearts coming in. Thank you very much. We've got Kyria from Australia. I saw Claire earlier on and Carol from Spain. Hello you, lots of hearts. Oh, how lovely. Thank you so much. So I've got a Sunday supplement. It was from a magazine a week ago and it was full of gorgeous things like this. Isn't this dress gorgeous? Absolutely lovely. I think it was just stunning. It's a huge amount of money, so I obviously could never afford that. The other one's rather lovely too. And then my colour scheme came from these two here. I know the text is all back to front. It's the way this camera works. But this magazine was just full of lots of inspiration and I just loved it. I thought, oh, right, colours. Whenever I'm doing a cake, I like to have a reference to my colours. If we don't have a reference, what I find is you tend to just always do the same things over and over again. So I always encourage my students to have a reference. I did the same for Kate, and whoever comes to my classes, I always try to get them to bring some sort of inspiration that they like, that they love. If any of you have got my colour book, you'll know that that's the way I work, and I think it just helps you to broaden your horizons a little bit more. We've got Claret from India, good morning to you, and Mitra as well. Fantastic. Oh, lots of thumbs up and hearts. Thank you so much, everybody. So I started off with a colour supplement that sort of spurred me on to choose my colours. I then started doing some research on the internet to see how people use doodle and fashion. And then I put together this little piece of paper. I basically put images off the internet, popped them onto a piece of paper here so I could explain to my student, Kate, where they all came from. And I just sort of thought that was quite useful to see how I was going to use them on my cake. So that's sort of where I started. So I started a little bit on paper first, doing all the research. I love doing research for cakes. I tend to always do that. I find it very satisfying. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of how I work. Obviously, we all are very different. And I always say cake decorating is like computers. There's always 3 different ways of doing absolutely everything. So if you work in a different way, that's absolutely fine. But I know people love to know how I work. So what I'm going to do is give you, put this on spin so you can see a little bit more of this cake. I think it's probably going to show you the back. It's not finished, this cake, so you'll see how it starts life. Basically, I cut out shapes, which you can see here. I put onto a plain cake and then I start building the pattern with the doodling. So the first thing, obviously, is to show you how to cut those shapes out. And I'm going to flip the camera in a moment and you'll be able to see. But I'm going to let this go all the way around first. Bara says hello from Abu Dhabi. Hello there. It's lovely to have you with us. Now you can see more of the doodling that I've done here, particularly up on the shoe. I've gone to town, really. So now I'm going to switch this off. I'm going to move the cake out of the way and flip the camera so you can see the cutters that I've used to create it. So just bear with me, do a little bit of housekeeping here and move this around and over this way. Okay, move this across and out of the way, move that over there. So Don't take the light. Now I'm going to flip my camera, so just bear with me. This often takes a few seconds to do. Okay, so this is a close-up on the cutters that I've used. Now these are all my own cutters. They're all available via the Lindy's Cakes shop, and we do ship right away around the world. So we've got the little shoe. It looks huge, I know, on the screen, but it's actually quite small. We've got 2 handbags. That one's like a tote shape, and this is more of a fun handbag. And then there's a little party dress cutter as well. And I've already cut some shapes out here. Oh, we've got someone all the way from the Philippines, and they say, hi, hello there, Maria. Wonderful. Right, okay, I'm going to pop my camera up on my stand here, and as you can see, I've got some paste that I've already rolled out. So we've got some red paste here, and I've got some pink, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways of cutting out these shapes. So the first one is just literally to I'll do this one here. I'll take that back. I've just rolled them out and put some plastic over them just so that they won't dry out too much. I'm going to show you how to create the tote. I love this, and it's very on trend at the moment, this shape. So what I'm going to do is just place it onto my paste. Now this paste is modelling paste. It's basically a sugar paste or fondant that's had some gum added. I use a teaspoon of gum to 8 ounces, 225 grams, but if I'm wanting smaller amounts, I just use 50 grams and 1/4 teaspoon of gum. And the gum I'm using is gum tragacanth, but you could use CMC as well, or Tylo's, or whatever you like to call it. It's got 101 names. So I'm just going to press down firmly on here, like that, and then remove the cutter. I'm going to remove the excess paste. Now these cutters are all made from stainless steel, which means they last, they never go rusty. It also means that you can easily wash them. I always put mine in the dishwasher. It makes them nice and clean and shiny. I haven't washed these since my class on Friday, but once I've finished teaching you, I will be doing that. I just put them in with a cutlery so they don't get lost. Now what I'm doing, this is an extra cutter. The set comes with 2 parts. It has the outline, and then it comes with the centre as well. So I'm just going to remove that. As you can see, I just pressed down firmly, and I'm just going to get a scriber tool, which is basically like a needle on a handle. You could obviously use a pin as well. And there you have that lovely shape. Now what I do is I leave them on my work surface to harden up a little bit, so that when I transfer them onto the cake, they keep their shape. Now the other way I'm going to show you is I use it more probably for intricate shapes like flowers, but I'm going to show you on this dress shape just so you get the idea. So I'm just going to move it over a little bit. I'm going to pick this rolled up paste up. I'm going to place the paste over my cutter. So it's brilliant for sort of very intricate shapes. And now what I'm going to do is take my rolling pin, and I'm going to roll all the way over my cutter, backwards and forwards. This can stop the feathering that you sometimes get with cutters that aren't very sharp. Okay, like that. And now what I need to do is turn that over and turn like that, and you've got this beautiful clean shape. So that's another way of cutting out your cutters. There we go. But I say, normally I would do it for more intricate shapes like flowers, where there are lots of delicate petals, or maybe even this shoe. But I find with shoe shapes, it's usually best, because they've got obviously this delicate heel, it's usually best just to press down on the cutter and then not to move the paste, because otherwise you can distort the heel and the shape of the shoe. Anisha says, your tutorials are the best, full of details and helpful hints. Thank you ever so much. That's very kind of you to say so. And Anisha says, good morning from Brazil. Hello to you too. I hope it's beautiful with you too. We've got, as I said earlier, a lovely spring morning. The sun is shining and it just makes me feel good to be alive. It's fantastic. Right, what I'm going to do now is just show you how I fill the sugar shape, the fluid writer, because that's what I'm moving on to next. So I'm just going to move these cutters out of the way and bring in a little bowl of liquid food colour. Now it's important here to have a water-based one that's nice and runny. Can you see? It's a beautiful runny liquid in there. There's no viscosity to it. It behaves like water. Maybe I'll bring it in. There, can you see that? It's nice and runny. I tried using a new liquid food colour the other day, an airbrush colour, but it was just too thick. It did work if I added a little bit of water, but I want a nice dense colour. So I've got a fluid writer here. This is a fluid writer. This is the large one. They come in 2 sizes, which I will show you on the cake in a moment. But I just want to show you how you fill them. And then I'm just going to fill it by holding that there, putting my brush into the liquid and just filling it up by not scraping it. What do I mean? Let's push it so you can see. There we are, into the end, the bowl, the well of the fluid writer. Okay, so that is now full. So that shows you how that works. And what I'm going to do is bring the cake back and put the camera back on the stand so you can see me, and we will get this working. So let's put this down here. Just bear with me while I just reorganise myself. I'm going to flip the camera back. Okay. There, we got me again. Brilliant. Okay, I shall pop this back up here, and I'm going to bring the cake in like so. Now, we want part of it that I haven't done, so I thought I would do a little bit more here, and I think I'm going to just move my camera, a bit of housekeeping, move it round there. Okay, so hopefully I can get to the angle. Actually, I'm going to bring it in further in, and I'm going to pop round to this side with my fluid writer. So this is the fluid writer. I'm going to bring it in here. Oh, there we are. That's the fluid writer. It comes in 2 sizes. So this is the large one, but on this cake I've actually used both. So I'll bring the smaller one in, and that's this one. Okay, so that's the finer one and that's the thicker one. Now actually, if I turn this round, you can show you the difference. That if you look at this bag, if I try and bring this right in, now the bag that the camera is showing, this one here, if you look, the lines going down on the bag are with the fine one, and then the circles, which sort of represent the beads, they are the thicker one. And I've got other examples on here, I know. Let's go round to the shoe. So if you look at the shoe itself, most of that's done with the thicker one, and then the finer sort of details around the outside, that's with the thinner one. And again, the same with that. I just thought it was easier today to demonstrate to you with the thicker one. And I find that most people actually, what they do is they buy one, really love it, and then they go out and buy the other one. But if I was going to, people say, which one do you want to start with? It's really hard to say. I started with the fine one, but I'm probably using the thicker one more now. So it's entirely up to you. Right, so let me see if I can move myself over here. I want it so you can see it and I can see it at the same time, because obviously my hand doesn't reach around corners. So let's see if I can do this. Right, I think we can possibly do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, can you see? Yes, you can. If I work on this shoe, you can see, can't you? Yes, brilliant. So what I'm going to do is support my hand, and I'm going to add maybe, I'm going to get maybe a little bit of flour. Oh, wait a minute. I need to make sure this is working, because I've left it. I'll come back again. Because I've left it on my surface, I haven't got the ink running. So what I do, can you see this kitchen paper? I just use the kitchen paper to draw the ink through. So that's coming through now. And I'm going to just do a little, this is hard to do. Hard because I'm at the funny angle. There we are. Hopefully you can see that. And then, could you see that? I can't tell if you can see it, so apologies if you couldn't. I will do one up here. What am I going to do? I shall just do more petals, I think. Whoops. Petals. It's so therapeutic doing this. I absolutely love it. We spent a lovely day on Friday just doodling and obviously doing a few other bits and pieces too. But it was just such fun just to sit. It's very therapeutic. It's just lovely to do. And you can just let your imagination go wild, really. I'm going to pop myself back in again. Okay. We've got, someone said they love my craftsy classes. Thank you so much. I love doing them. They are really good fun. Now, obviously, some of you know that I've got a class all about doodling. It's I use a beautiful colour scheme on that one, or at least I think it is. It's sort of aquas and greens, and it's all about paisleys. So I'm just trying to show you other versions of what you can do with the doodle pen. I call it a doodle pen. It's actually a fluid writer. There are other things called doodle pens, but you doodle with a fluid writer. And Dawn obviously likes what I'm doing here, so thank you very much. So that concludes all I've got to show you. If you've got any questions, I will try and answer them as best I can, because obviously I try and help you as much as possible, but you know, it's a learning curve for all of us. This is quite a new technique. It's something I developed for my Simply Modern Wedding Cake book, and I love doing it so much I've been teaching it ever since. So that concludes everything I've got to say, apart from if you'd like to join me in my studio in the beautiful South Shropshire Hills, overlooking the Corvedale and the Clee Hills, then do inquire about one-to-ones with me. I've got quite a lot coming up, so you never know, I might put one here during a one-to-one. If I've got a student that I know well, we might do that another time. If you've got requests for future Facebook Lives, then please do ask. I know I've got a ongoing list of things to show you that I need to share, but it takes time to do all this. So we've got lots of hearts. Thank you so much for all the hearts. But I'm going to sign off today, and you can obviously, if you came in halfway through, you can rewatch this. I will post this live, and then I'll probably pop it up on my blog at some point as well. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.